I'm Dan Galusha and welcome to another edition of Dan's Fishing Tales. Today we're going to be fishing the rattle trap. I mean, I know everybody knows about the rattle trap. And this particular pattern is a yellow perch. I've been having real good luck on it. What I'm going to be talking about is the different sort of retrieves that you can use. You can just use the get up and go and crank it away and you'll catch quite a few fish. But what I found, especially if I'm fishing around areas with weeds, a pump retrieve works very, very well. And that's what we've been using. I've been catching a lot of fish that way, and we're going to try it here today, and we're going to see what happens. I got a weed area out there. It's out towards the middle, so I'm using the long rod. I like that for several reasons. This is an 8.5 foot steelhead rod, actually, but it works great for crankbaits, and we're going to give this a go, see what happens, see if I can hit some on there. I don't know how soon I will, so we're just going to give it a shot. You'll see I'm giving it a sweep retrieve. Sometimes what you want to do is let it sink a little bit and then start your retrieve. And like I said, I'm using kind of a pump but a sweep because I'm going to the side. There's one. Oh, yep. He hit it and then got off. Kind of hard to do on a rattle trap is to get off that easy. Try different sweeps too. Don't just take this long one like I'm doing. Maybe short ones like that. Just real quick. Almost more of a jigging. Vary them up until you find what they're wanting. Because I guarantee you, once you find what they want, usually that carries on into a pattern. There's one. He's not a big fish, that's for sure. A little small, but it shows you that the sweeping retrieve evidently is starting to get him a little bit interested. And I'll get the hook out of him. Without getting into myself. There we go. Got him. He's, like I said, not very big. But it shows that that sweeping retrieve is working. And that's what I'm going to use. for a while anyway, and I'm using a little bit longer sweeps. I'm letting it go down deeper, and we'll see if that's the pattern, because before I was coming a little bit higher. I'm really getting into the weeds now and letting it go on down, and this a lot of times is what it takes, is something like that, is to go with where you're actually getting hung into the weeds. And that's kind of bad with a rattle trap, but if you're in the right type of weeds, you can kind of bust loose from it. So we'll make a few more casts and see what happens with it. I may even change locations, as there's another thing. I mean, don't just stick to one spot. If you know that there's probably fish there, that's fine, but you can have overconfidence sometimes at a spot. And I happen to know that there's some good weed islands out there. I got one way out here. I cast down that direction. Seems like a halfway decent fish. Nothing huge. A little bit bigger than that last one. But at least a lot of fun. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, he is bigger than the last one. I'll get that into me. Again, gotta use the pliers. That's something, if you're fishing rattle traps, any crankbait really, make sure you got hemostats, or especially some hemostats, and then some pliers, and you can get them right out and you don't hurt the fish. He's nothing huge, but still a lot of fun. While we're at it, because I may be changing positions as to where I'm going, I want to talk to you about a little bit about the rattles that are in it. This is a patented sound chamber that the rattle trap people have. You can probably hear that. And you figure when you're ripping that, it pauses and starts drifting out, and it goes real fast, because when you're ripping it, it goes faster. And if you're just going along slow, so actually you're changing the rhythm of your rattles by varying your speeds, by doing your different rips and pauses and all that sort of stuff. And another thing, a friend of mine, Ricky Eastwald, who is the manager of the Bull Shoals Lake Boat Dock in Bull Shoals, Arkansas, a long time ago I had him on a TV show with me, and we were talking about the fact that he's a diver, he's got a diving school there too, that they can go down and say they don't see any fish, they can take some rocks and clack them together, all of a sudden it's like these fish come out of nowhere. And of course down there in Bull Shoals Lake, the water's so doggone clear they can see them all over the place. But in a way, I guess you'd say this is kind of the same sort of a thing. You got rattles, okay, you're clacking rocks together, and perhaps that's what it does, it draws them out. It's also supposed to be the same sound of the school of a bait fish, so you know, that's another possibility. But whatever it is, rattle traps work, and there's different sizes of it. This is a standard rattle trap, then there's some that are larger. There's also a mini trap, which I use. That's the 1/4 ounce size. This is the 1/2 ounce, by the way. And then also the tiny trap, which is a little 1/8 ounce thing, which is fantastic for like crappies and bluegills. Big bluegills will hit that thing, and bass. Bass will hit it. Pretty much anything. It's like any rattle trap. I've caught some really big crappies on these 1/2 ounce ones, and I've caught them right out of this lake, in fact. But we may be changing locations here if I don't get anything soon. So let's see, I'll go back out there, and this time, like I said, I cast down that way, and I went over another area and nailed that one, so we'll see what else I might be able to find. Well, I've switched location, and I've got one. He hit kind of close. About the same size, a little bit smaller than the last. I don't know where the big ones are, because I've been catching some real nice ones. I'm catching some real nice fish, and I just don't know where the big ones are going. They're there. We're going to find them, I hope. Go and rehook the fish, that's good. Like I said, it was a good enough fish. Nothing huge. Sure went right home about that one, that's for sure. Again, I'm casting way out over these weed clumps that are out there. They're kind of weed islands. Some of them are actual weed beds. And I call a weed island one it looks a lot like an island, but it's under the water, and they're a lot thicker. That's what some of these are, but they're starting to deteriorate because right now when I'm doing this, we're getting into the fall season, but we're still having some summer weather, and we're just going to have to see what happens. This is an odd day. This is one of those days that we're supposed to be getting some thunderstorms, I guess, maybe tomorrow or something like that, some rain. We had a few last night, not much. Water temperature's been going up and down like a doggone yo-yo. We got Pepper here again, and he's not cooperating too well today. He's wanting to go around elsewhere. I really did change locations. It's just, I don't know, I'm going to go a little bit different spot here too, I think. Oh, I had that one hit. That one actually hit on the fall as the jig went, or as the rattle trap went down. There we go. There we are. That one I cast down that direction on. This seems like a lot bigger fish. That weed area that I was talking about, it kind of runs on an angle. And it runs out this direction, and I thought, okay, I'm going to parallel it because there's a shallow area here. This is a good fish. Oh yeah, this is more like it. Oh, okay. There we go. Still nothing really huge, but of course with this sort of a rod, it's definitely going to put a bend in it. You see that? Not bad. I mean, I'm not going to be upset with it, that's for sure. So we're going to get him undone here. around here so I don't get my hand in a hook. There we are. Like I said, a little bit better fish. Still not, well, let's see. Okay, he's a good 16, so that's not bad. I use my handle to kind of measure these things. It's a 15-inch handle, and it came above the handle, so. Make another cast down there. I see I hooked into some of those weeds there. Yep, there's another one. Yep, that's where they're at. They're down there. Along it. Oh, he's off. That was a good fish. That was a good fish. Let's try that again, because evidently they're along that area. Like I said, that weed line, it comes out here, this big clump here, and then it goes up there, and then there's one that comes off this way. And that's the one I'm getting them on. And there's also kind of a flat, because there's a little cove that goes back here, and that's right close to the edge of that. I love fishing anything around a flat or an edge, point, anything like that. Just one of these. You know, another thing about a rattle trap is that you talk about a search bait. This is an excellent search bait. In other words, what you're doing is you're looking for your active fish, and then maybe go back after them with a jig or a combination, or something like a little killer, natural forage bait, little killer, something like that. That'd work too. Even the swim baits. But as long as you're getting them on these, you know, what the heck, they're doing good. These long rods, I can't say enough for them. Like I said, it's a steelhead rod. It's an 8.5 foot rod, but it is just fantastic to fish crankbaits with. And these rattle traps, and also a Blitz Blade, those two are my favorites to fish on here. But I'll fish a Blitz jig even on it and catch quite a few fish, because I can get the distance that I want. And you can go out past where you're going to spook fish. If you're in a boat, if you're on a shore, it doesn't make any difference. You can cast way, way out, and you're not going to spook fish as quickly. There's another one in that same area. This one was actually closer to the flat that I was telling you about that goes back into that point. Because of that, I might move down a little bit more towards that. Depending on the size of this, he does seem like a decent fish. But they all seem good on these big rods. Oh yeah, he's good. Yep, he jumped good. Yeah, that's a nice fish. Up we come. There we go. Yep. There we are. Again, I'm going to use the pliers. rather do that than injure me or the fish. So I'll tell you, these rattle traps have got extremely sharp hooks, just like right there. I hooked it right back into the fish with the other hook. That's how sharp they are. So, see, he's not bad. Got another good one. I think we're going to move down here towards that flat just a little bit. Not too much further, just a little ways. Got a decent one on here, I think. No. Hook sideways. It's always fun. Got another one on. Hit him way out there. That's a pretty good fight. There we go. Man, them hooks. Those hooks are killers. Hey, rattle traps have got extremely sharp hooks, as I've said before. Again, I'm going to get the pliers. It's a Leatherman tool, and I'll tell you, I've had that for a long time, and it's what they call a wave. I love that thing. It is so nice. It's great to have along with you. See what else we can catch. It's getting about that time of the day when I'm going to have to start wrapping things up. I know the sun's still up, and I might stay around, but I think we're going to have to probably put a wrap on this. I did want to say, though, that, you know, the rattle trap, yeah, we caught a few fish today on it, and not as well as, like I said, I've been doing the last few days or so, but I still caught some, and it shows that just about anybody can use this. I mean, it's like, hey, yeah, he can use it. Yeah, well, you can't. Any age, any experience level can use a rattle trap. They're extremely easy to use. Nothing else, just do the old crank retrieve, and you're going to catch fish. You don't have to do all the fancy pauses and rips and all that like I did, although it helps. Very retrieve. Today it was the best retrieve was one where I let it go all the way to the bottom, and then when I'd sweep it, it would be a longer sweep, and pause as I'd rail it back up, sweep, pause. The other day it was what I call spurts. It was zip, 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 like that sort of a thing, just real quick. And so it can change. It can actually be, like I said, I had it parallel to the water, keeping the trap down to the depth where I wanted it. A lot of times it's where you take your rod and you lift the rod up and down, so that the lure is falling and coming back up, falling and coming back up. And that will trigger them. And when you're doing that, get ready to have the hit at two different spots, generally. Just as it falls and just as you pick it back up. It just seems like it hits right around that time. And like I said, the rattle trap is one of those baits that anybody can use and catch fish, and that's what makes it nice. And make sure you get some different colors. I mean, this is, like I said, the yellow perch. I've had luck with the apricot. Another one is a diamond shad, the gizzard shad. That's good. And then some of the Bleeding Bait series, they have several of them in that. And I would go with white and chartreuse if you just want to go with a couple of colors, white and chartreuse, the different ones like that. There's also a Sexy West, and that can sometimes produce. One of the best colors that I've ever used is a chartreuse with a black back, and that's an old original color, and that's all it is. Nothing fancy like these with all the striping. It's just chartreuse that has an orange belly and has a black back to it. And one of the old standards that everybody has used and caught fish through the years, especially white bass, I have done fantastic on it down in Bull Shoals, is the old chrome with a black back. Very, very simple, a good flash to it. You got the rattle, you got everything. So make sure you pick up some rattle traps and give them a try. Like I said, great search bait, great fish catching bait, everything. They're just super. So don't forget your rattle traps. And until next time, get out on the water and have a great day of fishing.